we'll move to today's lecture, that is introductory lecture on Indian culture. Okay, introductory lecture on Indian culture. See, in as part of history syllabus, apart from modern India, okay, we have the section called world history. We have also the section called post-independent India, wherein the history from 1947 to till date is also covered. Then along with that we have ancient and medieval India, and along with that we have Indian culture. And with respect to the significance of the subject, okay, both modern India and Indian culture, they take up a majority of the share in UPSC preparation of history. Okay, first and foremost, when you talk about Indian culture is very, very important for UPSC preliminary. If you have good command over Indian culture and Indian modern Indian history, automatically nearly 15 to 20 questions in your prelims preparation, they are automatically solved for you. And apart from that, Indian culture, definitely every year you see in mains also 1 or 2 questions, that is ranging from 20 marks to 30 marks in UPSC mains too. So it is very, very important, and a good hold over this subject, that is history and Indian culture. It also will help you in your other papers like ethics, and it will also help you in writing a decent enough essay, because in essays most of the introductions are based on historical context laying. So that's how you usually write your essays. So just I'm trying to tell you about the significance of the subject. Now we are going to have a look at what is Indian culture. Okay, what is Indian culture and why is Indian culture? So first and foremost, we are going to discuss what culture exactly is. What is culture is the first question that we deal with. Then after that, we are going to move towards what makes Indian culture unique. Okay, that is the second question that we need to answer. Then after that, we are going to talk about the various manifestations of culture in India. What are the manifestations of culture in India? We are going to discuss ranging from religion, okay, to philosophies, to architecture, to sculpture, painting, folk traditions, dance, drama, and music. Okay, in this form, there are many manifestations of culture. How are these manifestations there? Okay, and I am going to give you a brief understanding on how I am going to deal with the subject. Okay, I am not going to go in depth, but superficially itself I am going to give you the dimensions or various facets in which culture can be dealt. So the first and foremost, we have to answer the question of what is culture. Okay, what is culture is the first question that we need to answer. See, culture is a societal phenomena. Okay, what is society? Society is a collective of individuals. Okay, society is, let's suppose there is one individual, he is not called a society. Society is a collective of individuals who have common norms, aspirations, okay, and beliefs. If people have common norms, aspirations, and beliefs, and if they are living in one common geographical territory, then they are called a society. See, understand this, that individuals, there should be a group of individuals, and these individuals should live in one single territory, and they should have common norms, beliefs, okay, and values. If they possess these kind of norms, values, and beliefs, then they are called society. A society can be as large as a nation. Okay, entire India can also be considered as a society, because there are some common norms, okay, like the Indian constitution, which are applicable across India. Yes or no? There are some common beliefs. Okay, common beliefs means majority of the people in India, they have a belief in Hinduism, but some other sections are there who believe in Islam. So a society can be as large as India itself. There, if you consider as large as India, they have a common geographical territory, that is Indian territory. They have a common norms, that is Indian constitution. Then apart from that, let's suppose if the society can be as small as a village too, or as small as a tribe with 10 or 15 people. If they have common norms, standards of behavior, beliefs, okay, then they are also called a society. And every society has a culture to it. Okay, and this culture, okay, what is culture means? It is a shared phenomena of a society. If a society follows some norms, beliefs, okay, then these norms, beliefs, and these intangible objects, intangible means something which you cannot touch, okay, these are present in the mind, the mental constructs of society, they are called its culture. Along with the mental constructs, even the physical, okay, or the tangible aspects of the culture are something which are the products of the society. Let's suppose if in one small tribal society, they create one wooden god, okay, the image or idol of this wooden god is also known as its culture. So their belief in, let's suppose the tribals have a very strong belief in patriarchy, then patriarchy becomes a part of their culture, because it is a norm which is being followed in the society. Then apart from that, the material output, that is the wooden image that they made, is also part of their culture, and both of them, they are shared phenomena of the society. The mental construct of patriarchy is also a shared phenomena. Then along with the mental construct of patriarchy, the image that they consider sacred is also a shared phenomena of the society. Then when apart from this, culture is not inherited. The second important point here is culture is not inherited, it is not biological. Okay, in fact it is transmitted from one generation to the other, okay, with the means of education or socialization. It means that no child is born with a culture of his own. Okay, what happens is, over a period of child's growth, socialization process occurs. Socialization means the individual will be made part of the society. The individual will be instructed in, okay, a child will be instructed in the norms or standards of behavior. Norms or standards of behavior, I'm sorry, norms or standards of behavior are instructed to the child by their parents. Okay, this is known as socialization. And along with that, education is also imparted to the kid. This is also known as socialization process. Education is also one of the forms of socialization. So in this fashion, culture is a phenomena which is taught to the kid. Okay, it is not something which he gets biologically, but it is taught to the kid over a period of time. That is what culture is. Okay, culture is. So let's suppose, okay, if an individual walks, okay, let's suppose if I am walking, then walking is not part of culture because it is biological. Okay, it is biological. Walking is not culture, but styles of walking, what is the accepted method of walking, is something which is part of culture. I think I made sense. Okay, because every human being, naturally or biologically, he will get the capability to walk. Okay, but the walking of a normal person is different from the walking style of a person who is a model. Okay, who went for a fashion walk. Automatically the fashion walk is part of culture, but normal walking is not culture. Are you understanding the difference between these two things? I think I made it clear. Then along with that, culture is historically created, designed for living. See, culture has a historical basis because it is given from one generation to another. Every cultural aspect, it has a historical basis, why a particular culture has come about. Let's suppose, okay, Indians have the belief in putting sindoor, right? Sindoor means the sindoor is the dot which women usually place on their foreheads. Yes or no? This is sindoor tradition in India. It started during the time of Indus Valley civilization. It means that from Indus Valley civilization, this concept of sindoor on Indian women's head is continuing. So that is the reason why this part of culture, it has come from nearly 4,500 years. 4,500 years. That's why culture has a historical basis to it. Then after that, what other characters are present in culture? Okay, so then culture is also a guide to the individual, because culture is something which determines or which tells to the individual what is the right thing to do and what is the wrong thing to do. Let's suppose in Indian culture, having concern for one's own aged parents is something which is part of Indian culture. I think I'm giving examples for each and every line. Okay, just listen to me. So giving significance to one's own aged parents is, or giving importance to them or their to them, is something which is part of Indian culture. Whereas in Western cultures, aged parents are not given the same kind of significance. So Indian culture is distinct from the Western cultures. It means that whenever, okay, whenever there is some kind of a choice for an individual, automatically Indian culture will determine an individual's choice. It means that Indians typically, they tend to take care of their parents, because in India the family system is still very strong and intact. Are you getting me? Whereas in Western culture, the family culture is very weak. That's the reason why aged parents are typically sent to old age homes. Okay, they are not kept in home. So this is how culture is also a guide for individual behavior. Okay, then along with that, culture is the totality of mental, material and technological processes and products. Okay, this is something which I have talked about already. It means that culture is a mental construct. Whatever ideas that you believe in, mental means something like patriarchy. The society believes in patriarchy means there is a difference between, or there is gender discrimination in society. Then along with the mental makeup, the material products of a society. Let's suppose if a society, okay, in a society, let's suppose what are the material outputs of this society? I talked about the tribal god who is made in wood. He is the material output of the society. Then under technological processes and products, what are the technologies which are present in this society? Okay, let's suppose in one tribal society that is there in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, let's take the example of Sintils. Okay, they are living in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Their technology is still at a hunting and gathering level. It means that they don't know how to cultivate crops. They don't even have a positive interaction with outsiders. Usually if someone from outside, if they go inside, they kill them. Okay, this kind of technological level some tribes are still situated at, that is also part of their culture. It means that the mental concepts like patriarchy, the material concepts like tribal gods, and technological concepts like, okay, still being at pre-agricultural level, all of these are part of an individual's culture. Okay, then along with that, it is both tangible and intangible. I told you tangible is something which you can touch and intangible is something which you cannot touch. So now we will have a look at the definition of culture. This is the most standard definition of culture across all subjects. Okay, it was given by a person by the name of E.B. Taylor. He is considered to be the father of anthropology, and he has given this definition. Culture or civilization is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. See, here this is an all-inclusive definition. It says that all the knowledge which is present with the society, all the beliefs, all of its art forms, morals, laws, customs, okay, and any other capabilities which are acquired by an individual as a member of society. It means that all of these are acquired habits but not inherited. See, this is very, very important. I have talked about how culture is an acquired habit rather than being a inherited habit. So this is the definition of culture which has been given by E.B. Taylor. Okay, it is very important and I'll explain more about it later. Next, if you have a look at, so this is the definition of E.B. Taylor which was given by E.B. Taylor. If you want me to explain culture in a more simplistic fashion, it is what people of a society think, what they exactly do, and the material products that they produce. All of these three things put together, okay, all of these things put together, then these three things put together, that is called culture of a society. It means that culture is an all-encompassing thing with respect to society. Something which is not inherited is part of culture. Let's suppose if Indian culture is considered today, okay, today's Indian culture, it has at its core, okay, let's suppose what is the mental construct of Indian people today. Okay, it is based on what are let's suppose, okay, I'll give you the example of Indian nation's culture. Indian nation's culture's mental outlook is based on Indian constitution. I'm telling you, Indian constitution is not something which is tangible, but it is intangible because it constitutes ideas. Okay, Indian constitution determines the laws of India, the customs of India. What is right in India and what is wrong in India is determined by Indian constitution. That's the reason why Indian constitution is part of Indian culture, first and foremost. Then the second one is what are the material products that are being produced in India. Let's suppose Tata Iron and Steel Industry in Jamshedpur, it is producing iron, yes or no? So the material product of this culture is that iron. Okay, it is also one of the material products. It means that the factory products, whatever is being produced in India, okay, that is also part of Indian culture. Then the technology which India has mastered. Okay, yesterday we were talking about the space research that India is doing, that is also part of Indian culture. The technological aspects, the material products which are produced in the society, along with the ideas which guide the society, all the three things, they are part of the culture of a given society. So this is how we define culture. Okay, this is a little bit theoretical, but I wanted to explain it to you because the culture has a very broad definition. Okay, all the things, okay, all the living experiences that you experience every day are part of your culture. From the food you eat, from the direction you wake up, okay, to the gods that you believe in, okay, and to the rules that you follow on road, everything is part of culture. Okay, that is what I wanted you to understand. Okay, that is what I wanted you to understand. So then now we will move to, so this is the definition of culture. Now we will move towards, okay, why is Indian culture unique? Okay, so every country or every tribal group for that matter has a culture of its own, just as pointed out by me. Every tribal group also has a culture of its own, but I think you know that Indians feel a lot of pride in their culture, yes or no? Okay, every Indian feels that Indian culture is something which is very, very unique. Okay, Indians have done something very significant. That's the reason why in the past, that's why we always have this pride towards our past. And even the Westerners regularly visit India, yes or no, in order to experience Indian culture, because they consider that Indian culture is very, very rich. It is very diverse. Okay, and many other aspects of Indian cultures even attract foreigners towards India. Yes or no? Okay, every year, that is the reason why tourism is a major revenue earner for the government too. And what are these unique aspects of Indian culture? First, you have to talk about. First and foremost, it is its continuity. India's is the only unbroken civilization in the entire world. Okay, from 4,500 years ago to till date, some of the cultural practices have an unbroken continuity. This is something which is very, very unique about Indian culture. Okay, we might have heard about the pyramids in Egypt. Yes or no? Okay, pyramids in Egypt are still surviving today. Okay, but the religion and the practices which were being followed by the people of Egypt at that point of time, they are completely lost. Okay, entire Egypt is today a Islamic nation. Yes or no? Entire Egypt today is Islamic nation, and from the time of pyramids to till date, there have been many cultural breaks. It means that some people who believed in the gods who are present in pyramids, they are not surviving today. But in Indian case, there is an unbroken continuity from Indus Valley civilization times to till date. Unbroken continuity means there is no break at any point of time. Some of the cultural practices in India, just like the Sindoor I was talking about, it was coming from 4,500 years ago. Our belief in, okay, the snake gods, okay, our belief in trees, okay, our belief in temples, our belief in mother goddess. Mother goddess means, okay, I think every village, okay, if you have any experience or exposure towards village, every village has a mother goddess of its own. Mother goddess means Grama Devate. Okay, this form of continuity is there in India from 4,500 years ago to till date. That is the reason why Indian culture is a living civilization. It is called a living civilization because from 4,500 years to till date, there has been no death to this civilization. So it is known as a continuing civilization. Worship forms from Indus Valley civilization, they are still continuing. Okay, if something has survived for so long, there must be something to it which has helped it survive for so long. Yes or no? Okay, if a person, he lives for 100 years, he might have got a healthy lifestyle. Yes or no? Okay, if he has a very unhealthy lifestyle, automatically he will die at 40 or 50. Yes or no? Just like that, India as a civilization, it has continued for so long, for 4,500 years. That means that it had some characters which were very unique to it, which helped it to survive for so long. Okay, I am making myself clear. Something has helped Indian culture to survive for so long, and one of the important things which helped Indian culture to survive for so long is its capability of adaptation. Indian culture is a very, very flexible culture, or Indian civilization is a very flexible civilization. It means that Indian culture always is ready to adapt to new changes. Okay, ready to adapt to new changes. Whenever there is a crisis in society, automatically new changes are easily adapted by Indian culture. It means that Indian culture has the capability to change. Okay, change helped India to survive, or Indian culture to survive for 4,500 years. Okay, I'll just give an example. Let's suppose, okay, when in medieval times, okay, the Islamic rule was imposed on India, or the people from Central Asia, they came into India and they were believers in a new religion called Islam. Yes or no? But Indian culture was able to adapt them and make them a part of Indian culture. Okay, this is something which is very, very significant. It means that by the end of the medieval period, the people who came from Central Asia, they lost their roots in Central Asia and they became completely Indianized. It means that the Muslims who came from Central Asia, they became Indian Muslims over a period of nearly 600 or 700 years. That is the capability of Indian culture. Okay, by adapting some of the practices which are coming from the West, and by some at the same time by holding on to some of its core value systems, India was able to survive. See, in a similar fashion, the adaptation capability of Indians is also very clearly seen when we were talking about modernization. We talked about how pre-modern India looked like and what are the contributions of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. I think you might be remembering it, right? So in Raja Ram Mohan Rai's ideas also, we see a clear adaptation of Western Enlightenment ideas to Indian culture. Yes or no? In a similar fashion, India has adopted, or Indian culture has adopted to various new influences continuously, and it has amalgamated all these ideas without losing its original core. Okay, the core ideas of Indian civilization or Indian value system, they remained the same, and whatever new influences were brought into India, they were also adapted by Indians. Okay, then along with that, okay, India also became a composite culture because of these influences. Composite culture means a culture which takes the influences from various sources, okay, and makes them into one whole, okay. That is what composite culture is, and India's culture is definitely a composite culture. Okay. In construction style, we will see this composite culture. It has many manifestations. Okay, the best example of which is Indian music system. The Indian music system, I think you might be knowing that it has two styles. One is Hindustani, another one is Carnatic. Hindustani music, it is usually performed in a North Indian belt, and Carnatic music, it is constricted to the South Indian belt. Yes or no? See, the Indian music system, before the Islamic invasion, there was only one music system in India, okay, which was more similar to Carnatic music. But later, when the Islamic invaders, okay, when the Islamic invaders or the Mughal rulers and Delhi Sultanate came to India, what happened is they brought along with them some Arabic music traditions, some Persian music traditions they brought into India. And this core Indian music system, it got itself adjusted to these Western influences, whatever influences were brought into India. And this mixed format of music today is known as Hindustani classical music. The Hindustani classical music, it contains Indian music system, Arabic music system, and Persian music system. So this is how composite culture will look like. Okay, it is an amalgamation of various styles. Next, along with that, dynamic. Okay, Indian culture is also very, very dynamic. I have talked about it beforehand too. And we can see the dynamism of Indian culture, particularly with respect to its adjustment to British rule. How Indian culture or Indian society became modern shows how dynamic it is. Dynamic means something which is more susceptible to change. Okay, then mutual understanding and tolerance is something which is very, very significant. Okay, yesterday or day before, I don't know when, but I was talking about how Indian religion is based on the principle of Sanatana Dharma or religious universalism. Okay, wherein there is no negation or opposition to any new idea. What Indian religions consider is, Indian religions, particularly Hinduism, it has the idea that all religions are just different paths towards the same God. Okay, that is the reason why Hinduism is a very, very tolerant and understanding religion. Okay, that is the reason why Hinduism as a religion, it was able to easily adjust to religions like Buddhism, Islam, and even Christianity of today. Okay, why? Because precisely that this aspect of mutual understanding and tolerance is a central concept in Hinduism, because of Hinduism's character of being Sanatana Dharma, or which is based on religious universalism. And there is a core belief in Indian belief system, that is Sarva Dharma Sambhava. It means that let all religions prevail. Okay, that is the central understanding of Indian culture. That is also one more reason for India being so accepting of new faiths and beliefs. Then Indian culture is also characterized by being deeply spiritual and religious. Okay, every walk of individual's life in India, okay, it is guided by religion. Okay, from that, ranging from birth to death, all ceremonies are based in religion. Even the cuisine that a person eats. Okay, India has one of the highest percentage of vegetarians in the entire world. Why? Precisely because Indian culture determines that vegetarianism is a healthy practice. Okay, or vegetarianism should be stuck to. So that is the reason why Indian religion, and in India, every walk of life is determined by religious and spiritual aspirations of people. Then along with that, Indian culture is also a plural culture. Okay, it is based on the concept of unity in diversity. It means that let there be 100 differences. If there is even one unifying force among in Indian culture, then we will have a look at the unifying culture, but not the divisive forces. Okay, even though people belonging to, let's suppose, okay, let's suppose take the case of unity in diversity. Let's take up the case of Bengal, let's suppose. Okay, in Bengal, if there is a Muslim and a Hindu, okay, their divisive identity is what? One is a Hindu and another is a person who follows Islam as a faith. But the unifying force for both of them is the Bengali language. Okay, when an outsider comes into the picture, they will get united on the basis of their Bengali identity. So it means that even in spite of this enormous amount of diversity in India, there is an underlying unity. Continuously there is an underlying unity. Okay, and this unity is something which helps India sustain as a nation. That's the reason why we have seen that India is having a plural culture and unity in diversity. Along with that, the Indian plurality can be very clearly seen in the range of languages which are spoken in India. Nearly 400 languages along with various dialects are being spoken in India today. Okay, and India is considered to be, okay, India has almost all religions of the world are being followed in India, except for one religion, which is Shintoism, which is followed in Japan. Except for this religion, all other major religions which are being practiced in the world today, they are being practiced in India. We have the Jews of Israel in India. We have the Parsis of Persia or Central Asia in India. We have people belonging to Islamic faith. You'll be surprised to know that India hosts the second largest Muslim population in the entire world. Okay, even though the Muslims are a minority of just 13% in India, in the entire world, the second populous Muslim nation in the entire world is India, immediately after Indonesia. Okay, I can give n number of such examples to prove that India has a very, very plural and diverse character. So, ranging from its cuisine to the religions that they follow, from to their dressing styles, the racial types which are part of Indian nation. In all these aspects, okay, there is a tremendous amount of diversity in India. Okay, tremendous amount of diversity in India. So that is the reason why India is considered to be a nation which is built on unity in diversity. Okay, and we also see the coexistence of numerous subcultures in India. Now we'll move to the next one. Okay, so this is a general discussion on the culture of India. The culture of India, we have talked about how culture, what exactly culture is. Culture is something which what we think, what we do, and what we produce. All of these things put together is culture. And in India, the things we think about, okay, the things that we do and the things that we produce are very, very diverse. Okay, in all these aspects, Indian culture is very diverse in India. Culture as a phenomena, it has enormous amount of diversity in case of India. Then if we have a look at, now we'll talk about culture from the basis of history, because these cultural traditions, they have been built over generations. I told you that from 4,500 years itself, Indian culture has started and it is still continuing to grow. Okay, so in culture as a subject for history, we are going to go and dig, okay, what are the roots of this culture, okay, what are the cultural manifestations that are still surviving today, what are the various religions which are being practiced in India, okay, and what is the origin of these religions, and what is the philosophy of these religions, we will have a discussion about. Okay, and today I am going to discuss one sample religion, that is Buddhism. Then along with that, as part of Indian culture, we also talk about the various philosophies which were present in Indian history. Okay, what was the philosophy? Which philosophy is something, okay, it is philosophy is the mental outlook of an individual. Okay, the mental outlook of an individual is known as philosophy. Okay, so when it comes to philosophy, there were numerous philosophers in India. They have given diverse ways of life and methods of life to be lived. Okay, these philosophers, there are some very significant philosophers, and today we are going to talk about one such philosopher who is Shankaracharya. Even Buddha is also a philosopher, but Buddhism, I'll cover it as a religion. But when it comes to philosophers, I'll talk about Adi Shankaracharya today. Okay, just a brief description. Then along with that, the various forms of architecture is also part of Indian culture. There were numerous methods of construction, okay, and many of these buildings, they still survived. Some of the constructions which were made 4,500 years ago in Indus Valley civilization, particularly the places like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, okay, Rakhigarhi, all of these places, they still survive. The brick constructions which were made 4,500 years ago, the houses which were built, okay, the canals which were built at that point of time, all of them, they survive even till date. Okay, so this architecture, as part of this architecture, I will today talk about the Stupa architecture which is present in India. Stupa architecture is also again a Buddhist form of architecture. I think you might be knowing about Sanchi Stupa, which is present in India. Okay, I'll have a talk about the Sanchi Stupa. I'll just have a talk about Sanchi Stupa, which is one more cultural manifestation of India's past. Then along with that, I'll talk about in paintings, I'll talk about the most significant painting tradition in India, that is Ajanta painting tradition. What is this Ajanta painting tradition? What did they try to depict? Why is it so unique? Some of these aspects I'll discuss. See, along with this Ajanta painting tradition, there are many other paintings, okay, ranging from Mesolithic period, that means from Stone Ages to modern day, there are many painting traditions. I am just giving you a sample, okay, of one painting tradition in order to make you aware, okay, make you aware how we are going to cover the subject. Okay, then after the painting tradition, there are numerous sculptural traditions too, okay, ranging from Amaravati school, Gandhara school, okay, then Mathura school is also there, Sarnatha school is there. In this fashion, there are numerous schools of sculpture, and today we are going to talk about one significant sculptural aspect of Indian culture, that is the bronze image of Nataraja, which is produced in Tamil Nadu. Even today, this bronze image of Nataraja, which is produced in Tanjore and Madurai, they are still very, very famous. Okay, one of these Nataraja image that I am going to discuss. Okay, what exactly to look for in this sculpture, I am going to talk about it. Then there are numerous music, dance and dramatical traditions in India. In dramatical traditions, the Sanskrit drama is something which is very, very significant, and in dance form we have nearly 8 classical dances in India, and in music format I talked about both Hindustani and Carnatic earlier. Okay, but we are not going to discuss any music, but we are going to talk about one dance form, that is Bharatanatyam. Just an overview. Okay, then along with that, there are numerous n number of folk traditions in India. Okay, folk traditions are something which are followed by predominantly tribal societies. Okay, tribal societies culture is known as folk culture. Okay, is known as folk culture. One second. Tribal traditions culture is known as folk culture, and this culture also we are going to have a discussion about one dance form of a tribal culture, that is known as Chahu dance form. Okay, what Chahu dance form is and what it represents, we are going to have a talk about it. Okay, first and foremost we are going to talk about one religion, that is Buddhism. Okay, Buddhism, just I wanted to give a brief introduction about Buddhism. Buddhism is a religion which was born in India. Okay, even after being born in India, it had a very great impact on entire Asian region, particularly in Central Asia, China, okay, Japan and entire Southeast Asia. Still today, okay, still today, many people follow Buddhism as a religion. Buddhism is the fourth major religion in the entire world. The first major religion is Christianity, the second one is Islam, the third one is Hinduism, and the fourth one is Buddhism. Okay, and who is this person called Buddha? Okay, he belonged to India. He definitely belonged to India, and in India itself he attained enlightenment, and after that he started preaching his ideology to the people, and after his death his ideology or his religion, it crossed Indian borders and it had a great impact on entire Asia. So first and foremost we have to know about the story of Buddha. Okay, I'll just give you a brief. Okay, he is born as Siddhartha. His original name is Siddhartha, and he is born in Lumbini of Nepal. Okay, even though Nepal is today geographically a different country, okay, and it is trying to move away from Indian influence, but culturally India and Nepal have always been one. Culturally India and Nepal have always been one. Even for that matter, India, Pakistan were also culturally one at one point of time. Okay, and India and Bangladesh were also culturally one at one point of time. Even India and Sri Lanka can also be considered as one cultural unit. Okay, that is how culturally, if we have a look at all of these territories, they were at one point of time or the other, they were under the influence of Indian culture. And here this person Buddha, he is born as Siddhartha in Lumbini of Nepal. Okay, and he is born in a royal family called Sakyagana, and he was a prince, and he is born to a person by the name of Suddhodana, and his mother's name is Maya. To these two people he is born, and he belonged to the Sakyagana Sangha, and which had its capital at Kapilavastu. Okay, then along with that, when he was born, okay, his father called for a soothsayer, okay, because it was a traditional standard practice in the royal families at that point of time. So they called for a soothsayer, and this soothsayer, she comes to his father, and she says that, okay, this person, he will either become a universal emperor or a universal preacher. Okay, a universal emperor or a universal preacher. She gives him two options, that he can be a great king, one, or he will become a great sage. Okay, automatically any father, okay, just like any other normal father, Suddhodana also thinks that his son should become a universal king, but should not become a sage. Okay, should not become a saint or sage. So that is the reason why what he does is he shuts in Buddha from, or Siddhartha, from all external, from the entire external world. Okay, all the sufferings of the world are all the sufferings of the world are put outside. Okay, and they were not permitted to enter into the palace of Siddhartha. From very young age, he only knew pleasure. Okay, nothing else. He lived a very, very sophisticated and pleasurable life. He never knew about death. He never knew about disease. He never knew about old age. Okay, all of these aspects, they were put outside of the palace walls. That is how Buddha had lived a socially isolated existence. Okay, just like our social distancing and isolation of today. Okay, in a similar fashion, Buddha was also quarantined nearly for 29 years in his palace. He was never permitted to come out. Okay, but one day what happens is Siddhartha, he wants to explore the external world. So he, with the help of one of his charioteers, what he does is, in disguise, he goes into the open market. Okay, once he goes into the open market, the first thing that he sees is that he comes across suffering. He comes across suffering. He goes on his horse by the name of Kantaka along with his charioteer Channa when he was 29 years of age. Okay, there he sees these four signs of suffering. The first one is a old man. Okay, till then Buddha never knew that. Okay, you might ask me a question that his father might have become old by then. Okay, but it is not true. At that point of time there were child marriages, and he sees a very old man. He sees a very old man. So he first comes across old age. Okay, then he looks at a sick man. Okay, a man who is deceased. Okay, then he looks at a corpse, a dead corpse. Okay, it means that a person is dead. So he sees his dead body. Then he sees one saint or ascetic. Ascetic means a saint. So in this fashion he sees four signs. One is old man, sick man, corpse, and ascetic. So UPSC has once asked the order of things that Buddha has seen. Okay, this has been a question. That's the reason why this is very significant, and Buddha's life story is also very important for us. Who his father is, who his mother is. Okay, so all of these things are very important for us. So, and he sees one old man, sick man, corpse, and ascetic. By looking at them, first three things, he understands that whatever life he is leading right now, it is not permanent. He also one day will become old man. He also will one day become sick, and he also one day will become a dead man. Okay, but when he looked at the ascetic, he thought that this person, this saint, he has found something which is permanent rather than the impermanent things that he is enjoying right now. He thinks that this person has something which is very permanent to him. So what he does is overnight he runs away from his palace. Okay, he takes up the monkhood. Then he travels across India, particularly the North Indian belt. He travels there. He learns the practice of meditation. Then one day he sits beneath the tree of a people tree on the banks of Niranjana river. Okay, in Sanchi, and at the banks of this Niranjana river, he finally attains something called nirvana. After 49 days of meditation, he finds, okay, nirvana. What is this nirvana? Nirvana means he becomes enlightened. He becomes enlightened and he overcomes the desire. Okay, and after this he comes and preaches. Okay, I have many things to talk about Buddha, but I'm just going to give you a brief. Okay, I told about his life story, then how he ran away from his home, then he started meditating, and 49 days after his meditation he attains something which is known as nirvana. And here Buddhism, after that he starts preaching a religion which is known which came to be known as Buddhism. And here this religion, it is completely inward looking religion. There is no external form of worship in this religion when Buddha preached it. Okay, it was a completely inward looking religion. Everyday meditation is the standard practice for this religion. Okay, if you have known about the practice of vipassana, okay, vipassana is something which is practiced today. It is a meditation practice, and it is the original doctrine of Buddhism, wherein an individual just sits and meditates and he observes his own emotions. He observes his own emotions. And apart from this, he also talks about four noble truths of the world. He says that the first truth about the world is full of sorrow or dukkha. Okay, everyone is suffering in the world. No one is contented and happy. Okay, that is the first truth that he finds out. Then the second thing he says that the cause for this dukkha is desire. Okay, excessive desire called trishna. Okay, excessive desire called trishna is the source cause for this form of sorrow which is known as dukkha. Then the third aspect that he says is that there is a method to eliminate desire. If you want to become happy, really happy, okay, then you have to eliminate desire. By eliminating desire, you automatically will eliminate sorrow. So this is the third noble truth that he says. And the fourth noble truth that he says is that in order to eliminate a desire, one has to follow Ashtanga Marga. Ashtanga Marga means the eightfold path which Buddha proposes. He says that by following these 8 practices, you will be able to overcome desire. By overcoming desire, you will be automatically free of the sorrow, which is known as dukkha. So this is something which Buddha preaches. He says that I have found out a way or a method to overcome sorrow in life. You can become permanently happy in your lifetime. Okay, by understanding that desire is the source cause of all suffering in the world, and there is a method to overcome this desire. What this Ashtanga Marga exactly is, and what are the other things that Buddha preached, because not just on the basis of these things, he also preached many other ideals, many other practical philosophies towards life and practical ethical doctrines in life. All of these things put together became Buddhism as a religion. And even after the death of Buddhism as a religion, it grew, and finally it became the 4th largest religion which is practiced in the world. And definitely you might ask me a question, if Buddha is so famous in India, why is Buddhism not a major religion in India today, but Hinduism is a major religion in India today? See, I have talked about the adaptive nature of Indian culture. Yes or no? I told that Indian culture has the supreme capability to adapt to whatever challenges are thrown at it. At this point of time, Buddhism was a challenge which has been thrown at Hinduism, and what Hinduism did was, okay, I'll tell you that Buddha was made into the 10th avatara of Lord Vishnu. Okay, they told that Buddha is also one of the avatars of Vishnu, and they converted back most of the Buddhists into Hinduism. Okay, that is the nature of Hinduism. If given enough time, okay, if given enough time, Hinduism would also have made Prophet Muhammad into one of the avatars of Vishnu. Okay, that is the kind of capability which Hinduism comes with. Okay, it has immense flexibility for new preachers. There is no dead end to the religion. The religion is continuously and organically growing. That's the reason why it can accommodate any preacher into the religion. That's why so many godmen are there in Hinduism today. Okay, so this is something which I'm just giving as an open-ended discussion. So this is Buddha's story. There is a lot more philosophy to him. Okay, we are going to discuss Buddha to more extent or to a greater detail in our full course. Just this is a bridge course. That's the reason why I'm just covering some of the aspects. Okay, now I'm going to move towards my next thing. Okay, this is the image of Buddha. Okay, he is sitting on the banks of Niranjana river. This is the scene where he has attained his nirvana. Okay, he is sitting beneath a peepal tree. Next one. Okay, next thing that we are going to talk about is one important philosopher of Hinduism who is known as Shankaracharya. See, when it comes to Buddha, his time period is 6th century BC. 6th century BC is nearly 1600 years. Okay, not 1600 here, 2400 plus 2000 plus 600 years. 2600 years ago, Buddha was present in India. He roamed around in Bihar, Bengal and Uttar Pradesh provinces of today. Okay, at that point of time, what, 2600 years ago, and still we have the practitioners of Buddhism in India. Some of the cultural relics of Buddhism like the Stupa are still present. So that is the kind of continuity that can be seen in Indian culture. Then the other important one is Shankaracharya. He belongs to 7th century AD. Roughly 1100 years after Buddha, this person came into picture in India. At this point of time, Hinduism was in decline, and this person Shankaracharya, he was able to unite the various sects of Hinduism, and he also proposed one ideology of his own. And this Shankaracharya's ideology of Advaita, okay, it is based in some texts which are known as Upanishads. I'll talk more about Upanishads later, and these Upanishads are considered to be very detailed philosophical doctrines on Hinduism. On Hinduism, very philosophical, detailed philosophical documents are known as Upanishads, and this Upanishadic ideology, okay, initially it was proposed during roughly 1000 to 600 BC. Okay, 1000 to 600 BC, this ideology of Upanishads has been proposed, and later date during 700 AD, Shankaracharya brought back Upanishads to the forefront. Then after that, once again they were lost, and later day during modern times, Raja Ram Mohan Roy is the person who brought this Upanishads teachings once more again to the forefront. And after Raja Ram Mohan Roy, even Swami Vivekananda was also a great believer in Upanishadic teachings. Okay, after Swami Vivekananda, if you see, okay, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, the first vice president of India, he is also a believer in the Upanishadic doctrines, and many great Hindu philosophers, they also believe in this Upanishadic ideology. What is this idea which is behind Upanishads? This Upanishads, they believe that, I think I have talked about it beforehand too while I was discussing Gandhiji. I talked about how in Hinduism, particularly in the Upanishads, it is believed that every individual can potentially become God. Okay, the individual soul, it is known in Hinduism as Atman. Okay, just it is known as Atman, whereas the divine soul is known as Brahman. And the Upanishad says that this Atman and Brahman are one and the same. One and the same, that is known as Advaita. Advaita means non-duality. Non-duality or monism, the belief that every individual is potentially God, is part of Upanishads, and they also believe in one single God. There is no polytheism, there is only monotheism, that is Brahman. And they also believe in a formless form of God. Okay, you might be surprised to know that in Hinduism too, there is belief in formless God. Okay, they were completely and strictly against idol worship. Okay, but today the predominant method of worship in Hinduism is you go to temple. Yes or no? Okay, but at that point of time, non-idol worship, Okay, is something which is very important. And Shankaracharya, he also believed in a marga which is known as a Gnana Marga, that is that you can attain moksha or liberation or this understanding of equality between Atman and Brahman. It comes out of Gnana Marga or knowledge based understanding. Okay, knowledge based understanding, and for this Gnana Marga one has to do meditation. So Shankaracharya is also proposing the same kind of ideas, which is one is you have to meditate, then you will be able to understand the equality between every individual and God. So and every individual can potentially become a god. So that is something which is known as Gnana Marga, and he wrote a book by the name of Viveka Chudamani, and he also talked about this concept of illusion or Maya. Okay, I think you might have heard about this thing. Okay, Krishna's Maya, even in ISKCON they talk about the same thing. Okay, Krishna's Maya means the world is completely illusionary. Okay, whereas the reality, the only reality in the world is the equality between Atman and Brahman. Every individual, whenever he is not behaving like a god, he has fallen for Maya. If he is working for his greed, then this greed is known as Maya. Whereas the reality is that he is potentially a god, but he has fallen for lower desires, which is known as a Maya. Okay, then along with that, the Nirguna form of Brahman, Nirguna means without any shape. Okay, I talked about how they did not believe in any idol worship. Okay, this is also the idea of Shankaracharya, and he also believed in monastic life. Okay, even now we find the monastic order which has been started by Shankaracharya in India even today. Yes or no? Okay, the Shankar Mutt is something which is very famous even today, and this mutt, it contains all the monks. Okay, monkhood is very important for liberation according to Shankaracharya, and he has started nearly 4 mutts across India. 4 mutts across India. I think you might be knowing about it. The Char Dham. Okay, he has started the Char Dham. I'm sorry, Char Mutt, not Char Dham. Char Dham is different from Char Mutt. He started 4 mutts in India. One is located in Puri in Odisha. The other one in Dwarka in Gujarat. The third one is in Badrinath in Uttarakhand, and the fourth one is located in Sringeri. Okay, these are the 4 different mutts which have been started, and he also started a monastic lifestyle which is known as Dasnami Sampradaya. Even now we find Dasnami monks. Okay, Dasnami monks, all of these people, they are part of a monkhood. Then along with that, he also tried to unite the various traditions which were present in India in 7th century AD at this point of time. Okay, see, I'll tell you one interesting factor. See, there were many conflicts between Shaivites and Vaishnavites in India before the advent of Islam. Okay, the religion can be used both as an integrative force and a divisive force. Whenever it is used as a divisive force, the wars between Shaivites and Vaishnavites used to erupt. But that is the reason why, in order to stop this kind of divisiveness, what Shankaracharya did was he started a tradition which is known as Shanmata tradition, wherein he integrated nearly 6 gods, okay, into one Brahman. What he did was he told that Shiva, okay, Vishnu, Shakti, and 3 other important gods of Hinduism, all of them are part of Brahman. So that is how he tried to integrate the various sects of Hinduism into one whole. Okay, that is what Shankaracharya tried to do. And he also started Dasnami Sampradaya, and it also started mutts at various places. And he also wrote many commentaries on the Vedic literature and also on Bhagavad Gita, which are known as Bhashyas, and he is known as a Mayavadi. Okay, this is the image of Shankaracharya, the 7th century Hindu philosopher and Hindu reformer. He is very significant. Even today, Adi Shankaracharya's ideas are still very relevant, and he is the person who tried to bring about unity in the diverse religion that is Hinduism. So that is how Shankaracharya is a very significant personality. And in this fashion, along with Shankaracharya, we have to discuss many other philosophers. Okay, like Ramanujacharya is there, Madhvacharya is there, who belongs to Udupi region in Karnataka. Then along with Madhvacharya, you have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then along with them, we have some important Sufi saints like the Chishti Sufis. Okay, Nizamuddin Auliya, you might be knowing. Okay, Hazrat Nizamuddin. Then along with that, Moinuddin Chishti. All of these philosophers, they have a unique philosophy of their own. Okay, and all these philosophies are very important for UPSC. Last year or last before year, there was a question on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his contribution to Bhakti movement. Okay, which is talking about the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this fashion, there are numerous Bhakti and Sufi saints which we have to cover. I have just covered as a sample just the Shankaracharya. Even in case of religion too, we have to talk about the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Itihasas. Okay, then along with them, with that, we have to talk about Islam as a religion, then Buddhism, Jainism. All of these things we are going to deal in necessary detail for UPSC. So that is the reason why UPSC culture is a very broad theme. Okay, it is a very broad theme. but with the help of the right kind of instruction, you will be able to easily master the Indian culture. See, I think I am making sense. Without the help of a proper guide and guidance in a history culture particularly, you will be lost, okay, because just these things, if you just see the word Advaita and monism, you will not be able to understand. So right instruction is very, very important for culture. Okay, maybe modern India you will be able to manage, but culture is something which needs definitely proper instruction, and we at Manifest, we provide the best part of culture. Okay, it has been a standard practice for us, and over the years too, we have delivered culture at its cutting edge every year. Okay, we have done the same thing, and that is the reason why we were able to capture the questions in prelims and mains, okay, which most institutes were not able to even understand. Okay, that is the kind of quality service that we deliver at Manifest. Okay, next one is just then along with that, I'll give you one example of how we are going to deal with sculpture. One second. Okay, so this is the representation of Sanchi Stupa. Okay, Sanchi Stupa, and these stupas are just burial mounds. Okay, immediately after the death of Buddha, he died at Kusinara. He was buried. Then later, during the time of Ashoka, what Ashoka did was he re-excavated the body of Buddha. Okay, he took the body of Buddha out, and then he divided this body into numerous sub parts. Okay, each bone or small sub part he has divided. Okay, and he has sent them across India. And on these relics of Buddha, relics means the bodily remains of Buddha, numerous stupas were constructed. Among these stupas, one of the most prominent stupa is this Sanchi Stupa. It contains the burial remains of Buddha. Okay, or one or the other bone of Buddha is present here. These kind of stupas which are built on Buddha's relics are known as Dhatu Garbha stupas. Dhatu Garbha means it contains the relics of Buddha. Dhatu Garbha, I will give the name and spelling also. So this is the stupa. These stupas are the first houses of worship in India. First houses of worship. They were constructed even before temples in India. Even before temples in India. And what is the shape of this stupa is something which is very important for us, because there has been a question on stupa architecture. You even have to draw small representational diagrams on these stupas. Okay, these stupas, what they represent is that these stupas, they are burial mounds. Okay, first and foremost, they are burial mounds. It means that they are just like tombs. Okay, this is just one of the form of tomb, and this is the place of worship for Buddhists. And in these kind of stupas will go from outside. Okay, there is first a railing. Okay, railing means just like a compound wall. Compound wall, you can see it very clearly here. Okay, I think I will not be able to show it there. Okay, railing is the compound wall. Okay, compound wall, it will look like this. This is known as the compound wall around is known as Vedika. And in this Vedika, there will be some, exactly at 4 places, there will be some gaps. Okay, 4 places, there will be some gaps. And here you will find Toranas constructed. There you will find Toranas constructed. Then along with this Toranas, Torana means it will be like this. Okay, 1, 2 vertical pillars. Okay, along with that there will be some kind of architraves. If you visit Sanchi, you will be able to see this. Okay, this kind of architraves. This is known as a Torana. This will be richly sculpted. This will be usually richly sculpted. I think the image is not visible. This will be usually very richly sculpted. Okay, this is the Torana image. Okay, this is the Vedika, this is the Torana, and this Vedika usually it is built with what? Okay, some vertical pillars and horizontal pillars. Okay, the vertical pillar is known as Suchi, whereas the horizontal pillars, they are known as Ushnisha. Okay, Ushnisha and Suchi. See how simple it is. And these are also very richly decorated with numerous sculptures. The entire Vedika and Torana, they are very, very richly decorated. And along with that, what usually is the shape of this stupa? Usually it has a cylindrical drum below, and over this cylindrical drum, okay, over this cylindrical drum, what they do is they will put a domical object. Okay, over this cylindrical drum. Okay, cylindrical drum, niche. Over that they will put a spherical dome. Spherical dome. This is a solid dome. It means that it is not hollow in the inside. This is a solid dome. This is how usually the stupa is built. Okay, this is how usually the stupa is built. Okay, cylindrical drum will be there, on which the spherical dome will be placed, and this is entirely made as a solid object. It means that there is no entry point into this entire stupa. If people come, they have to worship from outside. Are you understanding it? It is completely solid. There is no entry to it, no exit to it. Okay, usually people have to pray to Buddha from outside. They have to do pradakshina inside this Vedika. That's it, and they have to go out. There is no method of entering inside the stupa, because inside the stupa there will be a relic casket. Okay, relic casket means, casket is what? There will be a box, and in that box Buddha's remains will be there. Okay, this is how the stupa is usually designed, and along with this there are also many pillars which are present along with this stupa. Okay, outside this Vedika there will be some pillars, and Ashoka is the person who erected numerous pillars near stupas. Okay, particularly one of his pillars, that is Sarnatha pillar. It is the one which has been taken up and made into emblem of India, not Sanchi Stupa but Sarnatha Stupa, Sarnatha pillar. Then along with that, on top of this spherical dome, what happens is they will construct a square platform. Okay, I think you can see it there. This platform is known as Hermike. Okay, Hermike is this square platform, and on this platform what they do is they will erect a small pillar. Okay, small pillar they will erect, and this pillar is known as Dende. Dende, on this they will construct some umbrella kind of structures which are known as Chetris. In normal Hindi also they are known as Chetris, right? Umbrellas. Usually the Chetris or umbrellas are a representation of royalty, because Buddha also is a prince. That's the reason why they have put this umbrella there. Okay, then along with this platform is known as Harmike, and this is known as Dende. Okay, and here the philosophical representation of this image of a dome, the solid dome, is that this dome, it looks like a bubble, right? So no. Okay, the dome, it has half bubble shape, right? And bubble is usually a representation of what? The temporariness of life. Okay, just like the bubble which comes out of water, it bursts immediately after some time. Yes or no? In a similar fashion, human life is also equivalent to a bubble. That is the philosophical representation of this dome. Okay, this dome, and along with that, this umbrella, it represents that Buddha is resting beneath this dome. Okay, that is how what they are trying to represent Buddhism as a religion through these images. Okay, through this stupa. So this finishes the discussion on stupa. I am just given some more features. Okay, this is how we are going to discuss architecture. Each and every feature of a given architectural style. If I take up a temple, I will discuss the temple thoroughly, both Dravidian, Nagara. Okay, all kind of temples. Let's suppose in Karnataka particularly we have many famous temples. Okay, particularly the Hoysala architectural style. Okay, we are going to have a very detailed discussion on the temples of Halebid, Beluru. All of these things we have to discuss in a similar detail. Okay, the architectural features, because they are very important for UPSC. So just I have written some of the features here. Again, stupa is a mound on mortal remains of Buddha. Then anda is the outside portion plastered. Okay, this is the anda. The spherical, the object is known as anda. Then solid, it is not hollow. There are railings which are known as Vedikas, and this horizontal vertical bars are known as Suchi, whereas horizontal bars are known as Ushnisha. Then there is Pradakshina Path. Okay, Pradakshina Path is between the stupa and the Vedika. The Pradakshina Path will be present. Then along with that there is Torana. This is the entrance gateway. I talked about it. Then there is Sopana. Sopana means, Sopana is the staircase. Okay, to access the first floor platform. Okay, first floor platform. If you have to access, then there is a Sopana. Then along with that, there are different kinds of stupas, which are Dhatugarbha stupa is the one which contains Buddha's relics. Paribhajaka is the stupa where Buddhist monks' relics are present. If a famous Buddhist monk, if he dies, okay, there are many famous Buddhist monks. Okay, even Dalai Lama, who is present in Tibet of today, he is also a Buddhist monk. Okay, if a famous monk dies, automatically what the people do is they will construct a stupa for him. Then along with that, that is known as Paribhajaka stupa. There is a Uddeshika stupa too. Okay, I will talk about Uddeshika stupa later. So this finishes the discussion on stupas. Okay, so just like the architecture, we are going to talk about the painting tradition too. I think you might be knowing about the Ajanta, right? Okay, Ajanta is one of the most important painting tradition in India. Okay, this is the image of a Bodhisattva. Okay, Bodhisattva is a person, who exactly he is, I am going to discuss in my later classes. But just remember that Bodhisattva is one important personality. Okay, he is a lesser god in Buddhism, and this is the image of a very important Bodhisattva by the name of Avalokiteshvara Padmapani. Okay, this is the best representation of Indian painting tradition in entire India, which is present in Ajanta. Okay, here you can see that the person is looking down on the earth with a compassionate eyes. Okay, He is looking at the people in a compassionate fashion. He is holding a lotus in his hand. See the facial features of the person, they are very much lifelike. And if you can see properly, there is a person who is standing on the background. It means that the image or the painting is made in a 3D fashion. It is not a 2D painting. It means that the image had a depth aspect to it. On a two-dimensional wall, okay, this painting has been made. Okay, see the other person who is standing in the background. You can very clearly see that they are using some techniques in order to bring about three-dimensionality in a two-dimensional image. Okay, in 2 dimensions, three-dimensionality can be brought out with because of some techniques. Okay, that technique has been employed in Ajanta paintings. Then, okay, his name is Avalokiteshwar Padmapani. His contribution is very significant. Then, apart from that, okay, one second. There is one more image. I'll just show you. Okay, this is the image of Buddha. Okay, even though you might not be able to see me, it is fine. This is the image of Buddha who is begging. Okay, he is the image of Buddha who is begging. Okay, here also you can see that there is an element of depth and three-dimensionality here. The Buddha's image is represented in a disproportional size based on his importance in the character or in the play. Okay, so that is the reason why his image is shown in disproportionate size when compared to the people who are giving him alms. Okay, in fact, it is his wife who is giving him alms. Okay, I did not specify it. He was married before 29 years and he had a wife and son. His son's name is Rahula, his wife's name is Yashodhara too. And he goes back to his own hometown and he starts begging and he gets the alms from his own wife and son. Okay, that is the image. Okay, that is the image and story in Buddhism. We'll talk more about it. Okay, so this is the Ajanta painting tradition. Now the next slide. Okay, if we have a look at the Ajanta school of painting, I just talked about how they are three-dimensional. There are a total of 31 caves on the banks of Vagora river. Paintings under Shatavana and Vakataka patronage. There was representation of Hinayana and Mahayana Buddhism. What these forms of Buddhism I will talk about later. But usually these paintings, they were made on ceilings, door frames and walls. Okay, and there is no clear demarcation between the scenes. There is no clear demarcation between the scenes and the scenes flow from one to another. And they employed numerous techniques like perspective. Okay, perspective means when you look at with your naked eye, okay, in a normal three-dimensional space, your eye can perceive three-dimensionality. But on a wall, they created this three-dimensional perspective. Then they used techniques like foreshortening. Okay, I'll talk more about foreshortening later. Today we are running out of time, so that's the reason why I'm rushing it through. Foreshortening is a technique wherein some images are put in a smaller size so as to show depth. Something which is close to your eyes, you will see it bigger. But something which is a little bit away from your eye, automatically the image will become smaller. In this fashion, they try to bring in the element of three-dimensionality. I'll talk more about foreshortening later. They have created an illusion of depth, and they also used techniques like shading and highlighting. Along with that, enormous compositions were drawn during this period, because these caves, they had huge walls. Okay, huge walls, and all of these paintings are enormous compositions. They are not small. Okay, in fact, these paintings are to the tune or to the size of 3 to 4 floors. Okay, 3 to 4 floors means roughly how many, like 20-30 feet they are in size. Okay, that's the reason why they are known as the classical painting tradition of India. This is known as Ajanta painting, and most of them are Buddhist in their inspiration. They show ancient Indian life. Okay, and human figures, they are very much like human life forms. Okay, they are very much slender. They have long arms. Very strict and stylized facial features are shown in these images. Okay, and all of them are very much ornamented and decorated. They have elongated eyes and all other things. Okay, usually they also represent natural life. It means that some paintings, they show forest life, some paintings they show royal life, some paintings they show the life of a hermit or a sage. So in this fashion, I'll show the various images to later. Okay, so in this fashion, the Ajanta paintings, they try to represent the entire ancient Indian life in its entirety through these paintings. They are trying to convey some messages to the future generations. Okay, particularly the religious truths of Buddhism is one thing, and the life and times of those period. Okay, both of these things they are trying to represent through their images. Okay, so and the next one is this Nataraja image of Cholas. Okay, just I'm going to show the image and a brief discussion. Okay, this Nataraja image of Cholas, it is very significant image. It is made in bronze, and they make it with the help of a technique by the name of lost wax technique. Okay, if you start reading your NCRTs, you will find this lost wax technique, and this is a very important image. Okay, here the Nataraja, whenever a art form is known as classical, it means that the facial features of this art form, they are trying to convey some emotional and spiritual message. Okay, whenever the facial features they convey this spiritual message, then automatically they are called good compositions. Okay, it is similar, very much similar to acting. Okay, if an actor he is trying to if he is able to convey some very good emotions, okay, let's take the case of Rajnikant. Okay, just as an example, he is able to convey a lot of messages and meanings through his facial expressions. That's why he is known as a good or classical actor. Okay, if you take an actor who is not good, okay, uh, there are many bad actors, I don't want to name them, but if they are not able to convey their emotions properly, then they are known as third rate actors. Here in these Chola images too, the images were able to convey very high spiritual messages. The Nataraja's image here, it conveys the spiritual message of Hinduism as a religion. Along with that, his bodily form, it also represents numerous things. Okay, each hand is a representation of one of the ideas of Hinduism. Okay, that is the reason why this is a very, very important one. And these Chola branches, they are very much reputed in the international smuggling racket too. Okay, because of their classical nature, people are ready to buy them at huge costs too. Okay, and each hand it represents one or the other idea. Okay, today because of the lack of time, I'm not able to teach them all, but the main important thing is they are trying to convey the entire message of Hinduism through these images. Okay, so see his front left hand, it is present in the form of Gajahasta. Okay, Gajahasta means something which is gift bestowing. Okay, it means that it will be like this. Okay, front left hand, it is given put like this, which means that he is trying to give gifts. Back left hand, it is holding a flame, which is a representation of what? Okay, usually Shiva is associated with graveyard. Okay, the front left hand, it is showing a flame, which is representation of graveyard. It means that every person is going to die one or the other day. Then front right hand, it is Abhaya. Okay, even though there is death, there is some element of permanence in individual life. Okay, so don't be afraid. Then back right hand, it is playing a Damaruk. Okay, Damaruk is a representation of, okay, it is trying to preach the message of Hinduism. Okay, or the Bhakti Marga. Okay, it is trying to preach. Okay, that is what is known as the Damaruk, and each leg and each hand, it represents one or the other ideal. Okay, and this entire image, okay, it represents 5 things in Hinduism. Okay, which are, okay, just I'll talk about this 5 things, which is the central philosophy of Hinduism, which is Srishti, Palana, okay, Pratihara, Tribhova. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, this is symbolizing Srishti, Palana, Samhara, Tribhova, and Anugraha. Okay, these are the 5 important elements of Hinduism. Srishti means creation, Palana means maintenance, Samhara means destruction, Tribhova means illusion, Maya. Okay, Tribhova is Maya, and Anugraha is liberation. It means that by believing in God, you will get out of this cycle of Srishti, Palana, and Samhara. It means that birth, death, and maintenance, all these 3 cycles will be broken down, and the Maya of this life cycle is broken down with the help of Shiva as a liberator, that is Anugraha. So in this fashion, and along with that, there are many other symbolisms for this. I'm going to discuss more about these things in my full-fledged class. Okay, then okay, Bharatanatyam is one more dance form. Okay, the Bharatanatyam as a dance form, it is performed, it is one of the classical dance forms of India, and it is performed in Tamil Nadu region, and it emerged out of the Devdasi tradition. I think I need not explain Devdasi tradition to you. Devdasi is a temple slaves. Okay, so the women are dedicated to the temples, and these Devdasi women, they started practicing this Bharatanatyam dance form, and it emerges from the stylized forms which were created by Bharata Muni. Okay, Bharata Muni is a great Indian composer. Okay, he is the father of Indian music, dance, and drama. All 3 things were attributed to Bharata Muni and his Natya Shastra. And even here in Bharatanatyam dance form, okay, usually there is only one single dancer. Okay, that's why it is known as Ekacharya Lasyam. Okay, and it is dedicated to Lord Shiva. Okay, and usually the movements, they are like they are one second. Usually the movements of Bharatanatyam dancer, they mimic the flame. Okay, the flame in a temple. Usually the flame, it flickers, right? Okay, the flame before God, it flickers because of air. The flickering movements are mimicked in Bharatanatyam dance form, and there are many technical compositions in Bharatanatyam dance form. Okay, that's the reason why it is also known as fire dance, and there are many technical compositions like Alaripu, Tillana. Okay, all of these things I'll talk about them more later. Okay, Jatiswaram, Shabdam, okay, Varnam is there, Padam is there, Javali is there, Tillana is there. All of these are technical aspects of Bharatanatyam dance. Okay, this is a Bharatanatyam dancer. It is a solo dance primarily done by females, and it is the movements are inspired by Nataraja, and the knees are bent always. Usually the dance is performed in half squat position. Okay, usually the dancers bend down. okay, and then they start dancing. Okay, there is a element of nritya, okay, natya and natya and nritta. All of these aspects are present here. What are these things and other aspects we will discuss later. Then the last one is one folk dance that I am going to talk about, which is known as Chahu dance. Okay, Chahu dance is a semi-classical dance form or folk dance form which is predominantly practiced in North India. North India, particularly Jharkhand, Odisha and Bengal. Okay, and it is also considered to be one of the intangible cultural heritage of India. This is very, very important. I have done a series in YouTube on tangible and intangible cultural heritage of India. You can have a look at it. Okay, it has been done during the time of lockdown in order to bring about awareness about Indian culture. Okay, about Indian culture, and as part of this, internationally recognized Indian culture is something which I discussed about, and as part of that I also spoke about Chahu dance form. This Chahu dance form, it is practiced as pointed out in Odisha, Jharkhand and Bengal regions, and this is a folk dance form, and there is usage of mask in some forms of Chahu, and in other forms, particularly in Odisha Chahu, in Mayurbhanj Chahu, there is no usage of masks, but in other forms of Chahu there is usage of masks. And this dance form, what they try to do, they typically try to represent the Puranas, particularly the stories from Mahabharata and Ramayana, in a stylized dance form. And it also includes some martial dances too. There are many martial dances in India. Martial means fighting dances. So martial dances are also present in India. They integrate, this dance form integrates folk storytelling traditions, folk dance forms along with martial arts are all integrated. And these things, by using these things, they try to tell the story of Puranas, okay, in the Indian Puranas and Indian mythologies they try to tell. Okay, and in this Chahu dance form, okay, there are three kinds of Chahu. One is Puraliya and Saraikelia, okay, which is practiced in Bengal and Jharkhand respectively, and Mayurbhanj Chahu, it is practiced in Odisha, and in Mayurbhanj Chahu there is no usage of masks. Okay, and other things is there are accompaniment of some other things along with this thing, okay, like Dhol is there, Shahna is there, Dumsa is there. All of these things are used as musical instruments in Mayurbhanj Chahu. Okay, I will show some images of Mayurbhanj Chahu. This is one very, very important one. Okay, here you see that there are no masks here. That is on the image on the left side, that is Mayurbhanj Chahu. Okay, and on the right side you see that it is the representation of goddess Durga. It is performed in Bengal. Okay, it is performed in Bengal. Okay, Durga Mata Puja. Then the Chahu dance is performed. See the face mask which is present there. Okay, then along with that I have two more images of this Chahu dance form. Okay, this image on my left, okay, the image on my left, it is the image of the Chahu dance form of Jharkhand. They are trying to portray the story of Radha and Krishna. Okay, Krishna is the person who is present in front. Then along with that I have shown the images of two masks too, which are used, and there is a specific procedure in order to make these masks. Okay, and this is something which is very important. So this finishes the discussion on Chahu dance form. So in this format there are many folk traditions. Okay, apart from folk dances there are folk music, there is folk painting. All of these aspects we are going to discuss, and culture is one very interesting subject, and it is very, very important for UPSC too. Okay, I have just given the broad contours of culture, and I have given some specifics in order to give you a taste of how culture is dealt at manifest, and definitely we are at the cutting edge of culture in entire India, and we are going to deliver one very good culture lecture, very good cultural lectures. I'll take a total of more than 30 hours for culture, more than 30. I think it is nearly 40 hours, and I'll give very good slides along with images for culture. Okay, so stay tuned to Manifest IAS. Okay, thank you for your time. Have a great day.